about this discussion. A lot of us have crossed paths like throughout the years in various capacities, either through performance, classes, or parties, just different venues where hip-hop dance is being practiced. And we realized that a conversation hasn't been necessarily happening amongst each other across the different ways we've been practicing it. So the goal and the idea of this panel is to try to find ways to bridge gaps, come to some understanding of the parallels, right, the similarities, and some of the paradoxes, the differences.
When I hear industry and choreo, I think of organized style of dancing, where it's not it's expressive but not as expressive as, let's say, freestyle. The key word in freestyle is free. You know what I mean? And style, freestyle. It's your style, or it's the freedom of your style. You know what I mean? So that's what I think of when I hear industry, choreo, and word freestyle.
Okay. When I hear choreo, I just think of a given direction, like specific direction. Whereas freestyle, you're allowed to go your own direction. Choreo, someone else has already decided the direction of your energy and how you're going to display it. Industry, it's that word in itself. It's a lot of different aspects of the industry. I mean, even when we consider on the street level, it's still an industry. It's still a chance for us to generate revenue for ourselves and others. We have the corporate side of the industry. This is not quite where it's maybe in the television, maybe you're doing private shows and bookings. I mean, there's so much to the industry. You have performing, you have the performance side of it, maybe you're touring, doing theater. So I definitely like to think of the way I would tell anyone that I've ever taught dance when it comes to industry. I just say, if there's music, you can dance. If there's not music, you can dance. So there's anywhere you are, you can make it. You can make it something for yourself.
Hello. Basically, I mean, my perception of the industry and being in the industry is more so the satisfaction of entertaining others. It's kind of how he said organized, but it's very business oriented more so than it is as far as culturally. Like culturally, we're coming from a place of, pleasing ourselves, pleasing our community, and actually, understanding the history of things. When it comes to actually industry-wise, it's literally almost solely off of entertainment. We're really just trying to please the audience of others, which is why the music video, it's kind of like looking at, food. Everything is about visual. It's all about, it's literally the pleasing to the eye. And it almost, not necessarily as if it, they take away the history, but, it's more so capitalizing off of, people, the audience, money. So there's different aspects to the industry, as Dr. Rico did express, but like again, it's more so how can I entertain you? How can I captivate you? How can I bring in this? How can I, how can I serve the purpose of my audience more so? And with that being said, it does involve choreography. It does involve an organization. It does have some type of restriction as far as how you look, what is to be put on stage, what kind of lighting and things like that. So it's definitely from the aspect of entertaining others, to my perception at least.
I just want to bounce back on what you said about the industry. As in many other industries, there is a different way to approach the market, if you can call it this way. Like you can base your approach on what you think the people want to see, but yeah, I think as well, like we should think about what we want to give them. Like most of them are successful businesses out there actually bring something that people didn't know that they would enjoy it or need. So I think it's good if you think about what the people want right now, but it's as well, I think, a good way of thinking to be true to what you really want to show, even though they don't know that they will like it yet.
Very well said. I agree with that vision there. For me, based in hip hop dance, we did it because we loved it. That was the only reason. I didn't do it to get rich, I didn't do it to get famous. I had a real passion for it, and I wanted to share that passion and energy with someone else. That's why I performed. I wanted you to feel the same thing I felt. I didn't want to say, hey, what do you want to see? I'll do that. I said, this is what I do, and this is why I love it. And I want you to have the opportunity to feel what I feel. And for me, that's how I would always approach anything that I did.
Whenever I get the chance to work with name drop, Movement Lifestyle and Beniga, mic check 1 2. Can y'all hear me? Okay. I'm still being trained kind of like as a junior agent, and my job is to make sure whoever the artist I'm working with gets booked, and wherever they're going fits the right scenario. So it's not where we're just like, I'm looking for this certain move and looking for this certain style. If you're not in, then you cut. Perhaps I do, but
It's okay.
for me, ML and Beniga have really shielded me from like the industry side, and they try to make sure to value the art. And so that's what I'm trained to do. And so whenever I bring it back to Kodachrome, I try to make sure like the artists that we bring to the community and the artists that want to dance fit, because it's not only what, like, you want to make sure you reach whatever the audience wants. For example, I brought Devera's good friend, Mike Kellner. He's very rooted in house. When I brought him to Appalachian State, where they were still trying to understand hip hop, his moves were a little bit too complex for them. But when I broke it down, when I brought Popper, his name was Justin Honsley, people loved him because they were still trying to understand hip hop and they knew like the popping choreo. For me, freestyle is about your freedom and your own creativity. Regarding choreography, I know it can be sometimes like, oh, someone else's movement, but that's their art, that's how they're expressing themselves. And so for college dancers who are just trying to figure out who they are as dancers, they're trying to figure out what they love most about it, and so they want to share, and so we are there to support them.
Choreo style or battle, which is really a competition. Studio, I see all of them as different windows to the same world. And so basically, you just, for example, discover hip-hop through a Michael Jackson Remember the Time video, and then you explore that whole thing and you find out, okay, maybe I like the choreo scene better, or you like the club scene better, whatever. To me, they're just different windows, so it's like a good thing in that sense. And then you have to do, you know, your homework and search more, dig deeper, and find history and culture and everything.
For me, when I think about the difference between like industry and freestyle and choreo, just in the way that I came up in dance, those worlds were pretty separate. I know they shouldn't be, but that's just kind of how it seemed in hip hop. So there was the freestyle world that didn't really mix that well with choreo. Yeah, they would do choreo sometimes, but then there were choreo heads that would only go on stage when they knew exactly what they were going to do all together. And then the industry side, they were the people who made dancing financially viable. People going out on auditions and things like that, and they had a good understanding of both choreography and freestyle, and they used all that to work for them. So when I refer to the industry, that's what I think about.
And just based off of, to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, it's not so much, and it's not a negative connotation, because at the end of the day, you know, it's one of those things that, especially in the industry, people still have to, you know, eat. You know, so it's like, if you're going to work as a dancer, you know, why not make the money to do it? Now, my perception of me actually being in the industry is, of course, that, you know, the perspective of, I want to be able to not only give you, you know, my art, but I also want to be able to give you genuinely me as well. And you know, it was just more so to kind of give the background on what it is. It's kind of almost thinking of you know, the industry as corporate America, you know, and it is one of those, it is one of those type of things. It's not a bad thing because there's people who, you know, go there, they get educated, and, you know, there's different levels of the spectrum, and there's different positions. But as far as what I personally think of the industry, I think it's one of those things that some people may fear from, as far as being able to be judged, being able to perfect yourself as an artist, as a person, in the way that it looks. So I don't necessarily look at it as capitalizing off of money or capitalizing off of, you know, the appearance of things. I more so look at it as a challenge to not only be able to, I guess you can say, conquer the industry, conquer the world, but then also be able to give myself as a value. So when I think of the industry, it's unfortunately the society to society is the corporate America. But for me personally, it's definitely about, you know, giving myself as an artist and being able to do it and genuinely do it right. And it's a challenge, you know, and it's one of those things that I think people get scared of the industry because it's a fear factor, you know? We're not used to being told no. We're not used to walking inside of a room and somebody judging you, because you'll literally line up in a line and it doesn't matter how talented you are. Unfortunately, 5% of it is your dancing experience, and sometimes it's you're too short, so you're cut at the first door, you don't even get to dance. And you know, and I think that some people they're feared from that. You know, we just want to bust a move. We would just want to be on stage because I know I can kill this person, I know I can burn her. So I think some people are literally scared of the industry because you're being told no all day. And you know, as versus culturally, we're able to just step out and express ourselves inside of a circle. So I don't think it's a negative thing, and I don't think it's a positive thing either. I think it's a challenge more so than it is anything else.
I think that adding to what Rico said, there's different types of industries, and freestyle dance and hip hop freestyle is definitely an industry, and there's people in this room who actually work in that industry, and I actually think that that's a parallel and not a paradox. I think that you know, we have to audition for stuff. You know, we get told, no, you can't. Nah, you're not what we're looking for. You know, and every time we dance, it might be, let's not try to take a word literally, like for what it says, because if you say freestyle, you know, like, not every time do I dance in a cypher is it like, because I'm trying to express myself, and, you know, I don't live in Narnia. You know, like when I get down, no, seriously, I gotta. There's a guy standing across that cypher who might be able to understand me, and he might be able to show me that he's a better dancer than me. And unfortunately, I was paid to be here. He was not, and now we gotta have a conversation artistically. Like, that's a lot of stress. You know, and you know, so that I think that's a parallel. I think what we're talking about is different communities, not like different methods of dance. Because I see those as freestyle, choreography, like as different methods to perform movement. You know, to display movement. Like for me, it's just like that. I think the things that we aren't really talking about is that the differences between those communities. Like, those communities are different, you know, the movement is different, but the industry, the concept of working for pay, working for you know, notoriety or fame or whatever it is that floats your boat. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, they're doing it in both areas. Like, so that's my take on it. Like, okay, so when we talk about like hip hop dance and traditionally, like where it comes from, we all know that this movement is from disenfranchised people. You know, I learned that hip hop, though it has many different ways to come out, you know, has a premise of, you know, I have something to say, and I want to say it, I want to express it, and I want to be remembered for my art.